Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in for the second Woman in Business interview. Today, I have the pleasure to welcome Carla, founder and creative director of Brand Creative. Hi, Carla. Thank you so much for joining.
Hi, Valerie. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh,
I'm really excited about today.
Oh, that's great.
Thank
you. So Carla, can you tell us more about your business? Like when, why, how did you start it?
So I started the company in 2011. I had been in Dubai at that point for about 6 years and working for other companies 13 years. Okay. And during that time, it was really the proverbial ladder, climbing that ladder in a really male dominated type of an industry. People always think that design is going to be full of women, but there is actually a really interesting gap, somewhere between university and the professional world. It's not that, it's actually not that difficult to understand why. Most women have a period in their life where they're maybe starting a family, and then the career takes a backslide to that. And instead of that journey for myself, I actually started a family much later in life. And so I found myself at a very young age able to continue climbing when a lot of my female peers were not. And so I had spent a long time working for other people and learned a lot. I really did soak up a lot of things from mentors from Canada. My first job was in Toronto, where I was born and raised. And I did a lot of traveling around the world, met with a lot of people. And after the recession here in 2009, I did feel like there was a huge gap for professional design services that people could afford. And what was happening at the time was really interesting. A lot of brands were just starting off. And they needed people like us, but they couldn't afford the big agency fees. And I just felt like this is the perfect opportunity for me to jump in, open up my own company, give them exactly me, who they would pay for at a big agency, but at a price that they could afford, because I wouldn't have had all of that overhead costs. So that was how it all kind of began. I wanted to be at the forefront of developing some of the exciting brands that are here in the UAE and the GCC. And because I was approachable, I was able to do that.
And since then you've delivered some amazing work. I'm so much in love with everything you create. So yeah, so it's a true honor for me to have you here today. So Carla, what would you say that you love most about working for yourself?
I do love the fact that now that I do have the family aspect of my life, I think that being able to time manage my own day means that I can be flexible. That's not always the best thing though, but what it does allow me to do is be with my son when I need to be with him, and my staff also understand that, and I think that that's a big thing that as a woman entrepreneur is a big deal, is making people understand, the ones that work for you, that you are working for a company that's going to support you. I trust the people that work for me. If they say to me, I need to be home today and working from home today, for whatever reason that is, I take that. I know that these people always deliver and do what they're supposed to do. So whether that means that they're 100% during the full day working at a laptop, or they're doing a little bit in the morning, with their children in the afternoon, and then a little bit at night, whatever that is, we're flexible. And that's what I love. I love that I am able to provide that for other people, and provide a loving environment for all kinds of people. We are very open here in terms of the types of people that we have working for us. We're truly multinational, very respectful of everyone. People here are hired because of their merit. So the smartest person in the room, not the most good-looking one in the room, or not the one who is this gender or this gender. It's the most qualified. So what I love is that I am able to manage this and actually come to the table with a team that is the most talented that I could actually put together myself based on merit and support them at the same time. So I really enjoy that. I really enjoy being a person who also keeps the clogs of the economy going, you know, and I love seeing the fact that we've grown from one person, myself at a dining room table, to two companies in two different countries with 18 people. I mean, I never, 10 years ago, if you had said to me, uh, how big do you want to be one day? I just wouldn't have seen it like this. I'm sometimes still amazed at how big we were able to grow. And I love seeing how much impact I have been able to make on other people's lives.
It's amazing to see, how you have grown over the years, but you mentioned some really great values there as well. And trust, is always one that's so important. And I do believe that a great business is built on a great culture and as well on great values. And I believe that, you have done a great job there as well. So, having grown from you to, 18 employees, so what lessons did you learn along the way that you actually wished that you would have known before you started?
I think the biggest lesson was to trust myself more. We often are told earlier on in life, like that this women's intuition is, something that's just a myth. And I actually don't believe that anymore. I really do believe that there are energies around people, and that actually I can read a room very well. And I didn't trust myself at the beginning. I felt like I always had to ask somebody else's opinion. Like it was too much of that. And maybe they clouded maybe some of my earlier decisions, on whether or not to grow. And what I've learned is that people hold me back. I don't hold myself back. When I feel confident, I am flying. Like I do things. I press the button on go on certain things that maybe other people wouldn't do. But that's what makes me special, right? And that's what makes me different and unique, is that I'm a little bit of a risk taker. So yeah, the trusting in myself was one of the biggest things, and that didn't come. There wasn't a morning that I woke up and went, oh. It has come through, business coaches and other mentors throughout the years in different industries as well. That when I listened to them, that's what I got out of it. Was there is a gut instinct that if you are one of those people who really has it and is tuned into it, that to use it to my advantage, as opposed to kind of like trying to hide it away and maybe thinking that it's a female trait that should be not spoken about. I think that woman's intuition is phenomenal. It's a magic that we should all use, really.
Yeah, but I'm happy
Yeah.
as well that you mentioned that you work with mentors and coaches, because I do believe that it's something that everyone needs to do. And it's not, sometimes people think like, oh, you have a coach, can't you do it yourself? Aren't you strong enough? How do you not know? But I think, we all need someone that, can just, make us stronger and see things from a different angle, and just give us advice, that we can come up with new ideas, develop ourselves, become a better version of ourselves every day. And I'm really happy you mentioned that, because it's so crucial for everyone to have at least one mentor in their life. So
Absolutely.
going forward, any challenges that you have faced that you can share with us, and the way that you have overcome that?
So I think as you grow your business, one of the biggest challenges when I speak to other business owners as well is the retention of people, and actually just going through that. And at first you become very emotionally attached to people, who work for you, because they become family, and you really become emotional about when it's time for them to leave for whatever reason it is. It could be that they have grown and they actually have found something better for themselves, or they're moving back home. In Dubai, that's a big problem, is losing people, because they just want to go home and they're homesick. So it's a big challenge actually for me, because my business doesn't have that motto of everyone is replaceable. not really. In the design business, not everyone is replaceable because everyone is so unique. It's a creative industry. So no, that person isn't the same as that person, not at all. You know, they have different ideas, they process things different. It's an art. You know, we are artists. We do consider ourselves artists. So how can you say, you know, this artist is replaceable with that artist? It's not the case. So and it's the challenge for me was trying, you know, really not to be emotional, too overly emotional about it when they leave, and to, you know, instead of spending a month kind of mourning that person, you know, because I really did, you know, again, I'm an artist myself, so I become attached to these people really, because we're all souls kind of trying to attain one goal together on a daily basis. You know, it's like, it's a pleasure to work with people really in this field. But learning to kind of process that emotion, and keeping in touch with people has really helped me, to realize also, like, you know, it doesn't mean that once they leave the company, they leave you forever. It doesn't have to be that way, not at all. Everybody who is a professional or a grown-up should be able to maintain a good relationship with the people that they work with. So
Yeah, very true. And especially when you've worked 20 years with someone, you know, you've contributed from both sides. So it's just nice to stay in touch. And we never know, you know, in the future when paths cross again. It's just, yeah, nice to be connected always. So last but not least, Carla, so what advice would you give to young women, you know, that are wanting to become entrepreneurs?
so I would say that for sure, to be self-sufficient, one of the things that was important to me when I started, number one, I didn't have any options financially. There were no options in this country specifically for young entrepreneurs at that time. This was 2011. I think there are things that have really changed here. The government has really opened up. But I actually took a risk, and invested in myself. I had whatever savings I had. Your savings doesn't have to be huge to do it. So it's a two parts to this question. So number one is, be self-sufficient. If you can fund the beginning of your own business, do that without any bank loans. It does, because most people think that they have to launch with like a big bang. And it really does depend on what kind of business you're talking about. You know, if you're going to open up a consultancy, that's really much different than it is if your place actually needs a location. I understand that. And you have to actually get into construction costs. This can be expensive, sure. But don't also sell too much of your own business off in order to fund that. You know, what I've seen is a lot of people who put in all the effort and who actually need that financial support end up bringing partners on who aren't as passionate. So if you do have to bring on a partner, make sure that they are fully into it as much as you are, because you're going to probably bring 500% to the table, and it really does, it really hurts when you're sitting in front of somebody else or with somebody else who's bringing 50% to the table. And I've seen that mistake happen. So for sure, be self-sufficient financially if you can. And secondly, don't wait to start. You know, I think it's one of the worst things, is speaking to people who have great ideas and they are sitting on it and sitting on it and sitting on it because they're waiting for the perfect time. There is no perfect time. I started Brand Creative at the tail end of a recession. Literally, my family told me I was crazy, literally. So go for it is my advice.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, wow. So thank you so much for not only joining us, but for sharing such great advice. I'm sure it's so valuable for many people out there. So to everyone, you know, thank you so much for joining and for tuning in. And I would say, you know, go out there, chase your dreams. And as Carla said, don't wait to start. Thank you so much and see you next time. Bye.